Hello world, this is Daniel Rucker with True Table, back with another episode on a Wednesday afternoon. It's beautiful, as I'm sure you guys can tell. Love living in California for the weather. Definitely blessed and grateful on how we're living out here as far as weather goes. But yeah, so back with another broadcast. You know, I've been actually going back and forth and thinking about things that I wanted to discuss. There's so many different issues. There's so many different topics. There's so much content. There's so many things that we could discuss just being human beings and just all that we deal with on a daily basis, a weekly basis, monthly basis, everything from family to friends, love, finances, legacy, social media, the list goes on. But what I'm going to talk about today is somewhat of a taboo type of topic for most people. And what I wanted to discuss is the dangers of homosexuality. Now, I know we live in an era now that this particular lifestyle has become mainstream. This lifestyle has become acceptable. It's something now that most people have encountered, something that most people are accustomed to, something that most people are accepting of. And interesting enough, most people are accepting of it because it's something that is being set as the new norm, being treated as a part of our societal structure. I'm here to tell you I don't agree. And there's various reasons why, which I'm going to get into in this video today. Now, some people may be a little bit put off by this topic, this discussion, and that's fine. You know, I'm not here necessarily to make everyone feel warm and fuzzy. Sometimes topics that are going to be discussed are going to require a little bit more of an assertive approach and ruffle feathers and get people talking. And that's really, like, again, what my whole premise behind why I do what I do in reference to True Table on this YouTube channel is to get people talking. It's to get discussions going. It's to get perspectives, introduced, and to get, people thinking, but really more so talking. So, homosexuality, very broad. There are just so many directions we can go, so I'm gonna try to narrow it down because it's something that can be discussed in its vastness. The dangers of homosexuality, in my opinion, come from a place of understanding that there are a lot of components to the lifestyle that require a sort of altered perspective, a sort of manipulated delivery of sorts. Now, you're saying a lot, Daniel, but you're not being clear. I've had this particular debate with different people. Surprisingly enough, I've had this debate with people who are actually people who consider themselves heterosexual. Now, why is this an important topic? Well, I think it's an important topic because we have so many people who live in our society that are just agreeable. We have so many people who consider themselves individuals, consider themselves independent, consider themselves, pioneers, consider themselves, free thinkers. And that's fine. That's relative. That's perfectly okay. I'm the type of person where I do my best to marry my mindset to things that are in representation of natural, organic, progressive. So, in reference to the topic of hand, the dangers of homosexuality, I'm gonna camp out and pretty much focus on our children. Now, anyone out there who has brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews, kids, can understand that in most cases, anything that's going to be effective or destructive it's going to be looked at, and we're going to look at how we can repel, prevent, protect our children. My particular opinion on the homosexual lifestyle is that it's a destructive one. The agenda that is displayed in media, the agenda that is displayed, in open forums, that practicing something that has nothing to do with really progression of sorts, but more so individual choice. And yes, I said individual choice, which I'll get into in a moment. Homosexual practices is something that is decided. It's something that is chosen. Now, I know that there's vast amounts of research and vast amount of articles that would say otherwise. And I would combat those and definitely say that they're very much wrong. I was having this discussion not too long ago with a friend of mine, and I mean, I've used this example several times, but I was stating that in any equation, when you're talking about something as natural as electricity, for example, I like to use other examples when I'm trying to prove my point. In an electricity type of example, in order to get a whole current, you need a positive and a negative. This has been proven throughout time, and now we have electric cars driving around, but that's another topic for another time. Anyway, and so how does this reference homosexual lifestyles, Daniel? Okay, it is a very asinine thing to think that you can get two of the same of genitalia to create a whole current. In order to create a current, you need a positive and a negative. Now, negative not being the word tied to it being negative, but obviously opposing is really what it is. In order to have a key that is going to actually be accessible and work in most scenarios, obviously we have technology now, but for the sake of going off topic, a key in order to get into a door is one particular component that is entering another component that causes access, and once that key enters that component, it creates an openness. Now, again, how does this relate to homosexuality and the protection of kids and how it's destructive? It's destructive because it is now portraying the change of naturalness when it comes to just biology. The biological structure that comes from being a man, the biological structure that comes from being a woman, is very much well thought out. I would have to say that the human body in its perfect form, and I mean perfect form without flaw, without health issues, without famine or anything like that, in its perfect form, operates just fine. I don't remember a time where a penis needed instructions on how to impregnate ovaries and bring forth life. That's actually probably never occurred. Maybe, but I'm saying that to say that in the naturalness of just our biology alone, it would tell me that in our biology, being born either male or female dictates what you now are privileged to participate in when it comes to procreation. Now, how does this alter and how is this destructive to our children, Daniel? Well, what I was saying to a few people that I've had this conversation with is that anytime you start to promote what I would consider propaganda, that is altering the structure. Because one thing about children are sponges. So children mimic behavior. Children mimic what is shown before them. So if children are given the option of being put in a position to be influenced by things that are not natural, it could cause a lot of confusion. It can cause a lot of disarray. One example I was using was that my concern for this particular lifestyle and the promotion of it is, let's say you have one child who is raised with, for this example, let's say you have one child that is raised in a household where there's two mothers that are showcasing their relationship in an open forum with this child. And then you have a child that is raised with two fathers, two males, and same, they're showing their display of affection and the structure of their relationship. And then you have a child that is raised in a heterosexual, household, a male and a female, mother and father, whichever. and they're being raised in a more, as we want to call it, for lack of a better term, traditional, foundation. And these children are all on a playground. And a child, for this particular example, that is coming from the household with two males, two fathers, has been showcased that affection from male to male in certain ways is okay. So this child is interacting with the child that is coming from a heterosexual lifestyle and is not privy to certain type of affection, certain type of gestures, whichever. And the child from the household with the two males decides to show his affection towards the child that is raised, influenced, and structured in a heterosexual lifestyle. The child that is receiving the affection from the child that is, being raised with the two males, being influenced from those two males, leans in and gives the boy or girl, but in this case, the child, a boy, gives the boy a kiss. The boy coming from the household with the two males, this is perfectly okay behavior. The boy coming from the household with mother and father, or male and female, this is new. And the newness is this is new introduction. Now, how is that destructive, Daniel? They're just kids. Obviously not that deep. Well, it is very deep. The emotions that are attached to understanding what feels right, what feels okay, what feels permissible, start happening at a very young age. There is several studies and articles and content relative to things that are relatable to children and victims of sexual molestation. And the sexual molestation is the same. Those children can identify that certain type of actions that are being taken towards them from a parental or an adult person is not okay, and it doesn't feel right. Something's off. They can't quite convey, but depending on their age and whatnot. And what I'm trying to say, particularly to how it is damaging, is that it causes for conversations to happen that raise particular, warning signs. It causes for introduction of relationships that could cause for questionable emotions. It causes altered interactions. My children I choose to raise, I would choose to raise them in a way that is going to make them most aware of what their birthright is, of what their culture is, of what their expectation is as far as being a great human being, a decent human being, making good decisions, so on and so forth. And with this particular lifestyle, what seems to be now somewhat of the agenda is that it is very promiscuous, very flamboyant, very much partnered with a lot of zealous promotion. Some would say, well, let them be. They're not harming anyone. Let love be love. Love who you choose to love. I'm not arguing that you love who you choose to love. We are supposed to love every individual and everybody. But that particular lifestyle is not love. That particular lifestyle is not something that is centered foundationally coming out of a place of love. It is coming out of a place of sex. It is coming out of a place of lust. And I would encourage people who claim that the homosexual lifestyle is one that is progressive, promoting goodness, promoting good well-being, good humanistic vibes, to encourage those individuals that claim that this lifestyle is centered around love to remove the physical act of sex, and let's see how much of bonding, how much growth, how much connection, and how much relationships will be birthed, how much relationships will be built, and how much relationship will be nurtured without the act of sex. Now, I'm approaching my time. I obviously went into many different examples and like some of my topics, which this one being another one, require a little bit more time to explain, I will definitely do so and get back and piggyback on what I'm saying. I don't want in any way, shape, or form for this video to be misconstrued that I am attacking any particular person. I'm definitely not afraid of the backlash or the comments. I actually welcome them, on anyone who wants to discuss things, you know, in a manner of gaining perspective, and that's the whole point. So I just wanted to touch on this particular topic today. This is Daniel Rucker again on True Table, my YouTube channel. Please hit that like button, subscribe, share my videos with, you know, your friends, your social circle, so we can continue to just connect, get the word out. Topic of today, why homosexuality is dangerous and destructive. And so yeah, thank you guys for your time. Please enjoy your day, and signing out. See you guys next week. Thanks.